of course, is Marcus Rashford. From what you've seen, I know you're looking at it from the outside, how has this been handled by Rashford and his camp? First off, particularly to do with that interview that was probably done without United's permission, saying, I need a new challenge, I need the next steps in my career.
It's interesting because there's a lot of game playing in football. You know, what the fans see and hear normally isn't what's going on. No one really knows what's going on with Marcus behind the scenes. But the fact is that he was being honest when he did that interview. And honesty isn't normally taken with gratitude. You know, a lot of people think, well, why did you say that? That was how he felt. And behind the scenes, there's obviously been a disconnect. But people seem to forget, you know, that what he's done in society, how good a footballer he is. But what people are seeing now is a disconnect between the player and the club. And there's lots of different narratives being put out there. But let's remember, he's still a young man. He's proved he can play at the highest level. It's just that in his eyes, some players, like Marcus, will just be honest about the situation. Now, if he'd not been honest and said, I'm going to stay here, I want to be here, and all this kind of stuff, people would have just accepted it.
But what I would say is this interview was done well before the transfer window opened.
Yeah.
So once that interview was done, the general consensus was there must be a club that's ready to take Marcus Rashford. We're on day 24 of this transfer window. Has Marcus Rashford and his camp maybe overestimated the market for him?
Well, let's say that he was planning to leave, right? Him and his representatives would have planned to have a club in place, etc., etc. What this shows is that he didn't plan to say this. He was having an interview and he said something, but it was honest. He was being honest about how he felt. So now we're in a situation where he has said what he wants to do, and now it's in his hands to do what he wants to do.
Sky, let's go to the club then, his current club. How have Manchester United handled this then, do you think?
I mean, it's interesting. Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and my view is that when you've got the revenue that Manchester United have got, right, they have got the power to do anything they want to do. They can hire the best people, they can hire the best recruitment, and then when they're dealing with players, they've got to have the best possible person to deal with the situation. It's all about sitting people in the right chairs. No matter how much money you've got to have the right people doing the right things, because if you don't, those people are just getting in the way. This situation is a massive thing, because he signed a long-term contract, he's on big money, he's a big star, and from Manchester United's point of view, the way they've got to handle it is to make sure that there is a good resolution, that it comes out best for them from their point of view. And what's best for them? Once there's an issue with a player, the longer the player stays at the club, the more of an issue it becomes.
So, look, the good resolution for United, it seems, would be for Marcus Rashford to go on loan to a club in Europe, right? We're running out of time now, though, and there's every chance that Marcus Rashford will remain at Manchester United. Now, given everything that's happened, given the finances involved, if you are in Marcus Rashford's ear, if you're in his camp, come 11 p.m. on February the 3rd, if he's still a Manchester United player, what's your advice to him then?
No, there's going to be people in for him. He's a fantastic player. What's happened is a coach has come in and just taken him out of the squad. And no player of his level can just sit on the bench forever. It would massively surprise me if there isn't something happening, and something will happen before the end of the window. But if he stays at Manchester United, it's not a bad second option. You know, if a player is playing for their hometown club and it's a massive club, he'll have to put his head down, speak to the coach and get back in the team.
So it seems all options at the moment for Marcus Rashford remain on the table. He could go, he could stay. One option that looks like it is going to happen for Anthony is a move away from Manchester United for the rest of the season, because United have given Anthony permission to fly to Seville for a medical with Real Betis. It's a straight loan. Betis will pay at least 84% of Anthony's wages plus bonuses. Now, this is interesting, Sky, because depending on individual and team performance, United could end up making a profit on Anthony's wages, rather like they did with Jadon Sancho last January, because they've got this incremental percentage that would come down the better the player performs. So definitely one to watch once that deal does go through. But Michael, I just want to come to you, because we're talking a lot at the moment about Manchester United departures. What about incomings and the latest on Patrick Dorgu?
Well, it's clear that United's prime target, I mean, we're talking about forwards with a lot of clubs, but Ruben Amorim, the way he plays, he wants a left wing back. And Manchester United fans asking us all the time, they're asking you a lot of the time, does outgoings hinge on any pursuit of incomings? No, it does not hinge on any outgoings in this transfer window. They want a left wing back, and it's Patrick Dorgu they want, but there is this gap still in valuation, isn't there? Lecce wanting a package, was it closer nearly to £38 million? Do you see some maybe kind of leeway there?
I mean, that's what Manchester United will hope to do. They are discussing with Lecce to bring that price down, to get a compromise, to get Patrick Dorgu in at Old Trafford, and I guess start this rebuild for Ruben Amorim, Sky. Just put into words how big this rebuild looks like at the minute.
You know, the risk clubs get when they put players on big money that are unproven in the Premier League is that you end up having to pay 84% of the players' wages to go to a club.
Let me just stop you there. That Real Betis will actually pay 84%.
Oh, yeah, 84%. Yeah. Okay.
So they may have got a good deal on that one.
Okay. if it's Real Betis paying 84%, yes, that is a phenomenal deal, honestly, because obviously he's a player.
We shouldn't forget that he cost Manchester United 86 million.
He cost 86 million. Amorim's gone in there, right? You can imagine that normally if you go into a massive club, you make one or two tweaks. But he's gone in there and he's literally gone, I need all of these players out and I want certain players in. I think that he's still looking at Gyökeres at Sporting Lisbon. I think he wants to bring him in because he's a forward he's worked with and he knows what he can do. But the notorious problem of, fans, if fans know what's going on and fans could see what they'd do, it's not rocket science. Everything what's happening is what most fans would do. A lot of the fans are saying, right, Anthony needs to go, so they've got him out on loan, and they've managed to do a deal. Whoever did the Anthony deal deserves a medal, because it's a great deal. Because the amount of money he must be on 10 million plus. They've paid 80 million for him, which would have been spread over his contract. So when you add his wages and the transfer that they're paying for him, well,
I'm thinking of the medal ceremony now, Sky, because I'm looking at Manchester United, and in the summer, Omar Barada came in from Manchester City, so new CEO. Dan Ashworth came in, took him ages with gardening leave, great garden, he can do his garden again because he's left Man United already.
Yeah.
Jason Wilcox came in, so many changes at the top. The only person who stayed was Erik ten Hag, and now we finally got the new head coach. Totally different people at the top, but still the same difficult problems. And obviously one of the big problems for them was getting the players out that Ruben Amorim didn't want. And of course now they've got this issue with Marcus Rashford. But people forget there's been so many changes at Manchester United from the summer.
If you've got the money, for me there's no excuse, right? If you've got the income and you've got the financial power, you have to get the best recruitment people. You have to listen to the opinions of the right people. Recruitment is all about who is making the decisions and who is deciding. Who's got the track record, you hire that person. Because what we've got at Man United is people, even legends, talking about what's going on with the recruitment. And then what they've done so far is that they've shown the fans that there needs to be a rebuild. It's not, and in football sometimes, clubs don't actually say we're going to do a rebuild, they just get players out. But it's absolutely fascinating what's going on at Manchester United because they've got the money, and so really they should be at the top of the game because they've got the power to get the best people across the board.